My name is Siri Hustvedt. I'm going to be reading from a novel that will come out next spring. I'm reading In Medias Res, but all you have to know, because it's a tangent, is that the narrator, her name is Mia Fredrickson. She is married to a man, a neuroscientist named Boris Iskovich, who has left her abruptly, but also that the science and medical history in this little passage is all true, just so you know. Why I thought of that erotic explosion, I can't say. The clouds, the bed, the light that shone through the girl's window that afternoon, a thick haze of summer illumination, any or all of it may have done it. Boris had accompanied me to a poetry festival where I had read to a crowd of 20. Oh, she's a poet. Quite good, I thought. And we had wandered about San Francisco in the foggy air. A fellow poet had recommended a massage therapist, a man of sterling quality who altered human bodies with his hands. This was an attractive idea for someone whose crammed and speeding head occasionally lost sight of her body far below. The man's name was Bedgood, Archibald Bedgood. I am not a liar. It may have been his name that started the whole enterprise. Nothing is certain. Anyway, while Boris waited in the wings, a restful room with new age music designed to turn all human beings into somnambulists, I lay myself down naked, but for a towel covering my rump, on Bedgood's massage bed, with some anxiety, if the truth be told, and the man began to rub. He was methodical, decorous. By some magic, the towel never lost its purpose as modest covering. He took each body part individually. All four limbs, feet and hands, back and head, even my face at the end. I had no sexual feelings whatsoever, no erotic leaps or fantasies. I had no thoughts that I recall, but after an hour and a half, Bedgood had reduced me to jelly. Mia was missing in action, so to speak. The person who emerged from the massage room to find Boris snoring on a soft pink sofa had been transformed just as advertised. She had been remade into a limp, empty-headed, but altogether euphoric being. After rousing Iskovich from his pastel divan, this redone personage, who deserved a new name, Fifi or Didi or Dollface or just Doll, sauntered arm in arm with husband toward Poetry Hotel, and that is where, on the somewhat too soft bed, I, or she, was split open, broken into flaming pieces, and transported to paradise 4 times in quick succession. The experience deserves commentary, not a word of which forwards any conventional notion of romance. Post-Bedgood ministrations, any person, no, I amend that, any person, bird, beast, or even inanimate object, provided it wasn't cold, could have sent me flying into the higher regions of erotic experience. The lesson here is that extreme relaxation promotes pleasure, and extreme relaxation is a state of nearly complete openness to whatever comes along. It is also thoughtlessness. I began to wonder whether there were people who lived their lives loose, easy, and fairly blank much of the time. Whether there were doll faces out there in a kind of permanent, sensual transport. I once read about a woman who had regular orgasms brushing her teeth, a report that astonished me, but which after Bedgood began to make sense. A toothbrush might have done it. Only a couple of years ago, at a discussion group on sex and the brain, I was shocked when a colleague of Boris's assured me that in the animal kingdom, or rather in the female side of the animal kingdom, in other words, in the whole animal queendom, only human women experience orgasm. When I expressed my amazement, Boris and 5 other male researchers at the table concurred with Dr. Bruder. We two-leggers could do it, but no other animals. In males, of course, prowess went all the way down the mammalian ladder. Male arousal has deep biological roots. In women, it's just a fluke, an accident. From a purely physiological point of view, this struck me as absurd. My primate sisters, who shared so much of my equipment upstairs and downstairs, had no fun during sex? What did that mean? Among our 4-legged cousins, only the males experienced joy? While I argued my point, Boris glowered at me from across the table. I had been admitted as a special guest. A couple of books and several papers later, I discovered that the smug 6 were dead wrong, which meant, of course, that I was dead right. In 1971, Frances Burton verified orgasm in 4 out of 5 of the female rhesus monkeys in her lab. Female stump-tail macaque monkeys experience orgasms regularly, but most often with other females, not with males. And when they come, the simian ladies cry out, just as we do. Alan F. Dixon, author of Primate Sexuality, Comparative Studies of Prosimians, Monkeys, Apes, and Human Beings, writes that they express their rapture in sounds reminiscent of Mrs. Claus. Ho, ho, ho. I used these 3 verbal ejaculations when I confronted the old man with my evidence. Ho, 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 I said, slapping down 2 tomes and 6 articles, all marked with Post-its. Why, you may ask, did the no-fun theory for girl apes become so well known that all 6 guys at the table had swallowed it as a matter of course, even though the primates in question have clitorises, as do all female mammals? Onan, if you recall from page 51, was punished for wasting his seed. He was not supposed to cast it on the ground, but put it somewhere, inside a woman. This is the waste not, want not for children argument. But unlike Onan, who can't inseminate anybody without orgasm, Onan's hypothetical woman, the woman he should have been inside, can conceive without having the big O, a fact recognized by Aristotle but forgotten for centuries. In 1559, Columbus discovered the clitoris. Ronaldus Columbus, that is. He sailed into it during one of his anatomical voyages, although Gabriel Fallopius disputed this, insisting he had seen the hillock first. Permit me to draw an analogy between the 2 exploring Columbuses, Christopher and Ronaldus. Their disclosures, less than 100 years apart, the former of a body of land, the latter of a body part, share a familiar hubris, one of hierarchical perspective. In the case of the New World, the viewer looking down is European. In the clitoral case, he is a man. Both the peoples who had been living in the New World for thousands of years, and I dare say most women, would have been stupefied by these discoveries. That said, the clitoris remains a Darwinian puzzle. If it's not needed for conception, why is it there? Is it adaptive or non-adaptive? The shriveled up little penis, non-adaptive, view has a long history. Gould and Lewontin argue that clits are like tits in men, an anatomical leftover. Others say no, the pleasure pea serves an evolutionary purpose. The battles are bloody. But I ask you, what matters adaptation or size if the blessed little member does the job? Before we return to our story, I leave you with the immortal words of Jane Sharp, a 17th century Englishwoman and practicing midwife, who wrote of the clitoris, It will stand and fall as a yard doth, and makes women lustful and take delight in copulation. Women, I contend, their simian sisters, and awaiting further research, probably other mammals too. Further sub-commentary, doesn't the 17th century use of the measurement yard for penis strike you as a bit of an exaggeration? Unless the yard then was not the yard now. I leave you finally with a limerick. When Columbus spied the Mount of Bliss, he stopped and asked himself, what is this? A button, a pea, an anomaly? No, silly man, it's a clitoris. Thank you very much.